embarrassed that when someone come and greet you and call you by your name and you're like, Minister, God, I'm so embarrassed that I did not remember his or her name. And it's embarrassing. I'm terrible at names. To remember names. People remember you and come to you and say, and call you by your name, and I'm like, you're trying to pretend like you remember, but you don't, and people are saying, look at the idiot. I know he did not remember. The importance of a name is extremely important. Let me just read something fast to you. I need to get out of... How long I've been preaching? Oh, Lord. A name is very important. We talk about Jacob. We talk about Abraham. And who is Abraham? The Bible says, because I am making you the ancestors of many nations, that's why I'm changing your name from Abraham to Abraham. Jacob was named Israel because he wrestled with an angel. And he overcame. And therefore his name was changed from Jacob to Israel. And Genesis tells us about Jacob's sons. No, Isaac's sons, sorry, Esau and Jacob. One was hairy, who was Esau, and red. And Jacob was called because he was holding on to his heel coming out of the womb. So names are very important. So 6 reasons why names are important in the Bible. 1, a biblical name could record some aspects of a person's birth. Biblical names sometimes express the parents' reaction to the birth of their child. Biblical names were sometimes used to secure the solidarity of family ties. Biblical names could be used to communicate God's message. That's the word, that's in the Bible. Biblical names were also used to establish an affiliation with God. Biblical names are given to establish authority over another or to indicate a new beginning or new direction in a person's life, as we just read. So, next time you forget somebody's name, please ask them for their name. Because it's very embarrassing when you forget somebody's name, when you should. You've been with somebody, you've been in a church for 10 years, and some people, you ask, who is this? Oh, the sister in the red, or the one who sits over there. 10 years in the church and you don't know somebody's name who has been there with you all these years. It is embarrassing because a name is important. There's a story that goes like this. A preacher, a pastor, was wondering why the church is failing and why his church is failing. And he could not understand, but he knew there were some problems. So he went to a business place and sat down. I think he visited the place for some reason. But he realized that the CEO came out. The CEO, you don't see a CEO of a company many times. Some people have never seen the CEO of a company. But that CEO came out of his office and he began to greet everybody by the name. He was able to call everybody he came in contact with by the name and ask them about their wife or their husband by name and the children by name. And he even saw the list of these people, a janitor. The CEO was able to call a janitor by his name, ask about his wife by her name and his children. And that blew his mind. Why? Because he could not understand why a CEO should be up there. People hardly see him, who should not even care about the janitor. Now he is able to hold a conversation with that person. And the reason why I'm using this example, because I've been in the churches where preachers come and preach. And at the end, it's not an altar call, but a money call. And as soon as they're done, someone comes and snatch them and they just walk out, go to the office, wait for them to get the portion of their pay or whatever they got. And you never get the opportunity to ask them a question, to shake their hand and bless them, or just have them pray for you. Like Jesus in his days, did not have entourage. Yes, he had the disciples, but people were all over him everywhere he went. But look at the difference. And today that man's church is growing. Why? Because he began to implement that in his church. And I've seen it here. I don't know about you, but I'm new. But Bishop is different. And I'm not saying this because I want to preach more. I'm saying this because it's the fact. It's true. Bishop comes and shake your hand. Because some will not. They will just watch you. And they go their way and talking to the pastor, the bishop who invited them, and they don't care who you are, where you're from. You have to appreciate what you have.
Amen. Amen.
And continue to pray that God continue to give him grace to implement these important things. There's another joke too. It's not a joke, but it's real, because the Coles and my family, we have a very close relationship, and it has been in the making for a long time to go to their home, and finally Christmas time they were able to grace us, and we were able to go to their home, and they, oh my God, hotel is not the word. I don't want to get people jealous, because maybe there are some people on their list that have to visit. But it was amazing. But one of the things that I remember is that before I went to the house, I knew Pasquale way before I met Pasquale. I am getting to the point that your name precedes you. And you have to be careful, because a name is very important. And Pasquale is the dog, the beloved dog. And we got to meet Pasquale because we've been hearing about Pasquale, and Pasquale was Pasquale.
Hallelujah.
Your name is very important, church. Your name is important. But many people have gotten in a situation that now what precedes their name, or what goes before them, is not good. So some people walk into a room and people start tearing you apart. They've never met you, don't know you, but your name have gone before you, and you just walk in a room and everything goes silent, and people are just talking to each other because of your name. Proverbs 22 verse 1 said, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Protect your name at all cost. You got to understand, when things are up, people address you by your name with respect. But I've gone through some situations. I'm talking about my wife, and I love using the example. She's going and she's like, listen, a name is very important. So when you address somebody by their name, you got to understand that you're honoring that person. But you see, when things are up with husbands and wife, it's sweetheart, baby, chocolates, you look so beautiful. But when the chips are done, when the arguments start, it's like, let me tell you something, boy. Let me tell you something, woman. Listen to me. And then all the disrespect begins. You know what I'm talking about? You know where I'm going with this. When everything's good, it's lovey-dovey. Can't get enough of each other. It's your honor. Master, I love you, my chocolates. But when things start getting sour and plates, my God, I hope it's not breaking in your homes.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I hope chairs are not slamming in your homes. I hope the feast is not flying.
Glory to God.
It's no more by your name or hussy or baby. Everything changed.
My God, my God, my God. My God.
And there are some people who are vindictive, vengeful. There are people waiting to latch on your name and suck on you like a leech. I don't know if you have ever been through it, but I've seen some of it happen to me. They try to latch on your name. But you can say to your neighbor today, turn to your neighbor and say, if you're waiting for my downfall, you're wasting your time. If you're waiting for something to latch on my name for, you're wasting your time. You see, this is the time that you should begin a second job to pay some of your bills, because I know you need it. That is the time you should be going back to school to get more education to change your situation. Don't wait on trying to find reasons to latch on my name, because I have many problems. I have many shortcomings. If you want to look for it, you can find it. Now, there's a story in the Bible about Reverend Graham, I remember the name. Reverend Graham mentioned that story. And it's a story about the woman who was found in adultery. Yes. And I looked at that story and the Holy Spirit just revealed some stuff to me. Her name was turned from what it was, because the Bible did not tell us it was Jane or Sandra who was caught in adultery. It says the adulterer, a woman, was caught. She lost the meaning of a name. She lost her value in that very instant. And therefore these people took her by the hand or grabbed her by the hair, whatever, because they had the authority to do so, with stones in their hand, because they wanted to kill two birds with one stone, destroy Jesus' ministry and kill her and show that he's a fake, and that this is what kind of type of order that we got to maintain in Israel.
My God, my God.
So they took her, dragged her to Jesus and said, the law of Moses have given us authority to stone her,
My God, my God.
to tear her apart, to destroy her, because now she's nothing but a tramp. She's nothing but an adulterer. She's nothing. Husband has been working when she should be home cleaning the house and cooking. She's with Brother Joe.
My God.
But there is something that Jesus did that caught my attention. And I asked myself the question, why did he do so? What Jesus did was that he got silent. And you got to understand that in spite of the situation that you found yourself in, there's not a man that can point fingers at you and accuse you. You did it, yes. You've been in the situation. You were caught red-handed. Your name should be trampled upon. But the Bible tells me that Jesus knelt down. And I said, Jesus, why did you kneel down? Because he said, I began to write in the dust on the ground. You got to understand that in what you have been through, you should have hit the ground. You should have been in the dust. You should have been down there. But I came to tell you that where you should have been, where they should have been trampling upon you and stoning you to death, I knelt down. And I took your place and I began to write a new commandment. You are the head and not the tail. You are the first and not the last. You are the best. You are blessed. They cannot condemn you. You are highly favored. Jesus began to write a new. You should have been in the dust. You should have been in the pit dying. But Jesus Christ said, I will take it on my shoulder and begin to change the whole situation. I'm talking to somebody today. You got nothing left. Your name is taken away from you. Everything has been taken away from you. But Jesus Christ showed you that where you should have been, I've already gone down and written a The Bible tells us about an infectious disease called leprosy. The leper. And I'm saying, Father, you're showing me these things in the scripture, but you're really speaking to me, because I don't know about you, but when I examine my life, I see leprosy. Leprosy is a contagious disease, infectious. And you get it by continuous contact with someone who has the disease. Dream killers. That means you're so close to people. It's the people that are close to you that will give you leprosy. Your husband, your wife, your sister, your brother, your church folks. Many of you had dreams that you could have been millionaires today. But it was us who said, why are you wasting your time? You should be doing this and you should be doing that. And vice versa. You brought your dreams to people and they trample upon it. Why? And now you have regrets upon regrets. And you are struggling with something called spiritual leprosy. It's on your shoulder and you can't get rid of it. Mama said, you will never be nothing like your father. You will never be something, but you will always be like your mother. She never reached anywhere in life. Who do you think you are? You think you're going to reach anywhere? Your parents never had a Cowboy, Phallus, or BMW. Who you think you are that you're going to drive a Mercedes-Benz? That you're going to live in a house that's worth $2.9 million? It is the people that are close to you and continuous contact, you get leprosy. Your dreams are done. Your dreams gone cold. And many people, I'm telling you, begin to sit in isolation. What leprosy does is that it causes severe disfiguring, skin sores. So that you used to be a beautiful person before, innocent. And they say that leprosy mostly affects children. So this man could have had leprosy from a child, growing with something that everybody saw. They saw that you were in the gutter. They saw your shortcomings, and they see it written on you. And they don't believe that you're going to amount to anything in life, that you're not going to make it, that you're going to die in that condition, but the devil is a liar. They keep on telling you, you will remain where you are. You will not be the head, but you will continue to be the tail. And many times, we have allowed these people to sink in our mental state that we remain crippled the rest of our lives. The other thing that leprosy does is that it isolates you. In Leviticus chapter 14 gives specific details on how people with leprosy should be treated. It was harsh, but that's how it was. You have to be isolated. You put in a place where everything and everyone that surrounds you is either dying with leprosy or have already died.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So isolation now, when you should be getting hugs and kisses, you now have been placed in a corner, and all they tell you is that you're just there to die. That you will never amount to anything in life. Nothing's gonna change. But the devil is alive. We don't know how long this man with leprosy was in this situation, but he found himself there. And I gotta wrap up this message. But the point that I'm getting to is this. I've been looking at my life and doing some introspection. I don't know about you, but I do that all the time. Because I see leprosy on my life. Remember the title of the message? and you approach to an old situation, you keep finding yourself in a situation where you keep going down. Every time, like Paul, you want to do good, evil is present. You want to do the best you can, you want to serve God, but you're torn because you keep stumbling, you keep falling down to the ground, and everybody's telling you just give up. Everybody's telling you that's how it's going to be. You will never change. And therefore your mental state has been confused. And you believe in the lies that the enemy is saying. So now he's in isolation. And I said, Father, why was this man in that situation all these years? He said, son, you got to understand that you, in spite of what you're going through, I need you to know that you are in the right place or in the right position. This is a message for someone who's about to walk away from your marriage because it has leprosy. This is for someone who's about to call quits because you do not see an ending to what is happening to you. Then Jesus said, the Holy Spirit said to me, so look at this. This man kept going down, kept going down. Everybody told him he's going to be the next one to die. He should be the one with nothing in his life. But he saw and he heard people getting healed on the mountaintop. He heard what was happening. And when Jesus came to the valley, and the Bible tells us that this leper made a conscious decision that I gotta leave that place where I am. You got to understand that there comes a time that you have to tell yourself, I gotta turn my back from that situation. I need to turn my back on the people who has been telling me that I will not become anything, that I will not amount to anything. But they have been putting you down, and everything they're slapped on your back keep bringing you down, keep bringing you on your knees. Now you're on your knees. But one thing that is kept happening to you is that some people don't give up. The more you're down, the more they try to press you down. And I'm saying, God, why you keep pressing me down? Why you keep letting this thing bring me down like that? Because son, before you were too upright. Your head was too high. You were walking too high. You were already taking a different path from what I have ordained over your life. But I've been putting some things on you. It's not nice, it's not good. It has brought you to your knees. You've been losing. But I'm still going to put on you. Why? Because there's a position that I want you to get to. You got to understand when your enemies get you down to your face. When you got nothing else to do. When you're down and out. When you got no strength in your legs. You've been battered, bruised. You're on your face. You're in an act of worship. You are in an act of worship. Your haters don't know what they're doing. Your haters thought that putting pressure on you would have caused you to hit the grave. But instead of hitting the grave, you're down. But God placed you in the perfect position. Because instead of asking him something, you're bringing him something. A new approach to an old situation. There must be an offering before an action. There must be an offering before a giving. There must be an offering before you ask God for a miracle. You've been asking yourself question, why I'm in this church? Why am I still here? Should I remain? God is saying, you're in the perfect position. You're in the perfect place. It is where the fire has been quenching upon your body, has been burning you to the ground. I am putting you in a position that you're going to give something to me that you have never given before. Rise up to your feet right now. You got to understand, the Bible says in James 1 verse 2 and 4, Reverend, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptation.
That's the word. Yes, sir. Yes. That's the word. Hallelujah.
Count it all joy.
Hallelujah.
Because what temptation does is that it produces patience. But it's verse 4 that caught my attention. Let patience have its what? Perfect work.
Amen.
Why? So that you will lack what? Nothing. You will want what? Nothing. So I realized that I'm not ready yet, like David. Sometimes God has a calling on your life. Sometimes God wants to place you somewhere. And you think you're ready. When you should have been the head of the army, now God have you playing a little harp, running demons out of a king. Not only that, he chased you and tried killing you. Now he has to bring you into your enemy's camp. Now he takes you into your enemy's camp. Why? Because you think you're ready. But he has to teach you some things that you got to love your enemies in spite of what they do to you. You got to be in a place where things that you never did, now you're doing it. At the beginning of this year, when Bishop asked me to preach, and before that, my relationship was very sour with my dad. And for years I've never spoken to him. And it has been paining me and hurting me. And I'm asking God, there's so much in me, but I'm not moving the way that I should move. I'm not going, Bishop. That's why I said, you spoke a word into my life and you gave me some warning this morning. And it's not coincidence because it's all in what's happening. And my relationship was sour with my dad. Didn't want to talk to him because the things I'm hearing, I call my stepmom, and the things I'm hearing is just crazy. And God said, you have to forgive him. You have to tell him you love him. Because there's a calling on this man's life. What he has been through, he should have been in the grave, but he's still alive. Because he was prophesied on that there's something that he has to do before he dies. And I called him up and I said, Dad, I know our relationship has not been good. Many times, I'm preaching. I'm preaching to people and people are getting delivered and people are hearing the word and people are breaking in tears. But still there are leprous situations in my life that I'm still holding on to. And I had to call him and tell him, Dad, this year is 2018, sorry, and I'm not going into this year with no baggage on my back. So I called him up and I said, I love you. And I care about you. Because I have children, and even though I'm doing the right thing for them, and I expect them to love me and treat me different from my father, but what goes around comes around.
That's right. That's right.
And I called him up and I said, I love you. And I need you in my life. We need to talk. We need to communicate. Because I know you love me, but what you have been through, never had a dad. You now don't know how to love. You've only showed abuse, and everything that you've done should have drawn me to being a womanizer, an abuser, a drug dealer, maybe in 6 feet deep today. But God has kept me. And you got to understand that when God shows you unconditional love, you got to show it to people. Because I did some stuff to my wife. I've not been the best. And I realized that more I hold hate in my heart for him, the more I become like him. But yet she stood with me and held me up and prayed with me and forgave me and loved me unconditionally. And God has been saying to me over and over, I have shown you unconditional love. then you now have to show it to other people. There's a story. I'm sure you've heard about Joyce Myers. Today she's a big multi-millionaire. Big congregation changing the lives of women all over the world. Why? She was sexually abused as a child by her own dad, and her mother knew it and never did anything about it. But when she got older, she should have held them responsible and held them in her heart with hate and hatred and everything. She forgave them, built a house, placed them in it, took care of them. Love, 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 love. Your marriage is breaking apart because you can't make that change. You can't turn to that direction where I will give love and not hate. There's another story I remember my wife told me. There is this man who was a drunkard, treating his wife the worst. Went to drink in a bar with his friends, get drunk, and they start comparing the wives. And he said, I have the best wife, because if I bring you guys home now, she's going to get up from a bed, cook food for every one of us. They said, you must be a liar. You know what happened? They took the challenge. He went home, drunk, making noise. The woman has to wake up from a bed. And she said, baby, I need you to cook some food for me and my friends. And you know what? Poor lady went into that place, into the kitchen, and pulled out the pan and started preparing meal for her drunkard husband. And the friends. When the friends saw that, true story, they just got up and said, you win. They could not understand what was happening. Went home. And today that man is changed, preaching and delivering people. Why? Because his life showed unconditional. You've been holding on to that leprous situation that is eating at your heart. Many people have stroke. Many people have hypertension. Why? Because they refuse to forgive.
Amen, amen, amen. Choose.
This year is different.
Amen.
Today you are about to go through something, because you're about to offer something to God like you've never offered to Him. I want you to break in a praise right now. I want you to break in worship right now. Because when the leprous man could not do anything else, when he had lost everything, the Bible says he was on his bottom. He was down to the ground, but he brought worship. The norm was that you had to be clean before you bring an offering. But who says that your life can be checked up and still bring God a praise? Your life could be messed up and still bring God a praise.
Hallelujah.
You could be making mistakes upon mistakes, but still you bring in praise to God, because it's time to give in order for you to receive. It's the reverse. Not wait until you're clean, but you bring worship, you offer to God like the angels are doing right now, and begin to worship God. Father, we worship you. 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 To worship you I live. To worship you I live. I live to worship you. To worship you I live. To worship you I live. I live to worship you. Sing that again. To worship you I live. To worship you I live. I live to worship
worship, and then he asks, can you make me clean? Many times we ask Bishop to pray for us. We ask the ministers to pray, but today it's a different approach to an old situation. As you have given him worship, it doesn't matter how you feel right now. You got to understand that it's already done. Your life is changed. Your 2018 is changed. You are the head and not the tail. It is not too late to achieve your destiny. It is not too late to achieve your dreams. It will not die, but it will live. You got to believe it. As we know that God is doing great things and mighty things this year, He's not going to pass you and I by. Because when He's reaching out to one, He's reaching out to all. This year is your year. This year is my year. We are letting go of every leper situation. We are letting go of every body that we have been holding in our hearts. We're letting go of everything that has been besetting us. And we are marching towards that prize, the high calling in Jesus. We are letting go of everything. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Push it back, push it back. Let it go, loose some people into their destiny by releasing them, by forgiving them. Jesus, we are not holding back anybody, and because we're not going to hold back anybody, we ourselves will not be held back. We have been delivered. Shout it out, I'm delivered. I'm delivered. I'm delivered. I'm changed. I'm renewed. It's a new year, a new season. God is about to do great things. My family is about to change. My household is about to change. My job is about to change. My future is about to take its course. My destiny is about to take its course. I shall not be the same anymore. I am the head and not the tail. Great things are ahead of me. My latter shall be greater than my past. Give God some worship right now. We give you praise, we give you praise, we give you praise. Blessed be the name of Jesus. I now turn over to